Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Zarku Games. We are taking a little bit different tact on how we do things now. We're going to be doing some reply videos. First up, and honestly, I wasn't going to be starting to do stuff, but this is a new video out by, who is this? XP to Level 3, who has always been kind of a treat to watch, just in how amazing their videos are. And I saw one called Realistic D&D Combat, and I just knew that I had to address this kind of immediately. We're gonna not stream this one because we're not really set up for it. But, and you have to excuse my hair, I got out of the shower earlier. We're also playing around with webcams for the first time. I'm not really set up for it yet, but we're gonna try it out and see how it works. And here we go.
Okay, today we're out in the field. We've created 2 5-foot squares. We measured them, they're 5 foot. And we're going to be debunking some of the D&D combat myths. First of all...
Oh, I'm very interested to see how he's going to debunk combat myths.
Look how enormous this square is. Never think about the fact you could be in the 2 different corners. So, So, this is how you normally be fighting, but you'd probably be like, whoa, 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 whoa. When your armor class is 100.
They obviously have no experience in combat.
Normally, at level 1, you can only make 1 attack. So, 6 seconds. Here's my turn. Why is it that fighters and other classes are the only ones who can do this? Watch this. I'm a level 20 fighter.
That's about right.
It's called an abstraction.
Because it probably looks more like...
This is the spin move. Why do I need to spend 6 seconds to go like this? Oh shit! Okay, all right, fair point.
It's called an abstraction.
I'm gonna master the art of being a rogue. I can disengage as a bonus action.
No. Oh, this is painful, guys.
Oh shit! So another one people don't understand is why you have disadvantage when you're right here. That's a valid point. What? Okay, what? I have normal attack here. Oh, it's because you can hit the weapon?
Or push it out of your hand.
Wow.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Here. Now I have disadvantage. No! Ooh, okay, yes, this is very hard to aim.
I always assumed expert was like, you were just really good at going like this.
Yeah. This other person who is, I have no idea who it is.
I have a normal attack doing this.
Is way smarter than he is.
But I have disadvantage if I'm right here. This is just as easy.
He is way smarter than him.
You missed.
Shut up. Okay, now you're gonna be a monk.
Oh god.
All right, ready? You gotta catch it. Dang, monks are fast. No. Oh god, this is supposed to be difficult.
This is a problem.
What? Okay. What you need to do is go watch Scalagrim.
All right, so I have to.
This is painful to me. Okay. We're going to pause here for a moment and take a look at this video. For one thing, these people who are questioning D&D combat and the idea of 5-foot squares, and the idea of, for one thing, why 5 foot is important. Just take a second and think about combat. And we're going to go and have you go and look at actual combat. Look at somebody like Scalagrim, or even Shadowversity, who have done actual HEMA. Now, I've never done HEMA in my life, but I've done some of the other close to combat games, where we pad our weapons. They're foam-based, but are more realistic than these kind of whippy LARPs. And 5 foot is what we call green or close range. You are very, very easy to hit within 5 feet. Anyone who's done fencing will know that it's well within a lunge range. So, yeah, I'm going to watch it for just a few more seconds.
Oh, yeah, you're already swinging. We both move at the same time.
This isn't how D&D works. We can't move at the same time.
I'm taking the dodge action.
Does he have a point?
I've been overwhelmed.
Wait, you need your sword. Hey.
Hi, you've been shoved.
You went like that.
No, you go like this. That's how you shove. You shove like that. No, that. Yeah.
Oh.
You shove like that.
Okay, what is
This
the
video
point?
was sponsored by the new Kickstarter Grim Hollow.
All right, let's see. Does he have any more talking? No, no. So he didn't have a point there. He was just making fun of it. This was my honest reaction to this video. I hadn't watched this yet. He could have actually had a real point. Now, I've watched some where they've deconstructed this. Now, I'm going to explain to you the idea of both 5 foot... we're going to go back because I want to like look at this in silliness. Let's find a nice. There you go. So with a 5 foot square like that, that's a representation on a grid. You are expected that you're moving around that entire square, and that you have the full range of it. You're even expected that you might move into your opponent's square temporarily to attack. Shadowversity does a really good video about this not too long ago, where you might step in to strike and then step back. This is just your home base, so to speak, in a fight. Same with the reach weapon, reaching out of it. But the idea of you only can attack once, this is kind of an interesting point to make. And this is the same issue with a HP, or hit points, where you're looking at it as, again, an abstraction of a total. If you look at, say, a level 1 fighter who has a 1d10 hit points, 14 constitution probably, it's looking at about 12 health. Since D&D 5e does not have a half-life mechanic or any kind of wounding mechanic, we can generally assume that there is no difference between 1 HP and 0 HP. Very rarely also do we have when you're hit, or when you've taken damage, or at half-life, or anything like that. It's not something that you see often in 5e. Compare that to 4th edition that had it. They had the Bloodied State. Even some other games have these. Savage Worlds. I think World of Darkness may have a wounding system that gives penalties. And some other ones. And at this point, you're seeing that hit points don't really represent health in the same way that they do in these other games. You know, a maxed out 12 hit point level 1 creature is just as good as a 1 hit point level 1 creature. It represents more of a energy, so to speak, to continue fighting. One of the best games ever made to represent this better than D&D was Lord of the Rings Online, where you didn't have health, you had morale. And your healers increased your morale, and things could affect it. This is similar to what hit points represent in D&D, in my opinion, because of this idea of 1 hit point being just as good as 100 hit points. So, this brings us back to the idea of 1 attack, where it's not that you only ever swing once. That's the attack. That's the idea of when you get the advantage and how often you can roll the dice to see if you can land an attack. As they just demonstrated, and as many fighters will demonstrate, you can land multiple attacks in 1 round. I mean, if you look at something like, you know, Armored Combat League, or SCA, or HEMA fighting, you're going to throw a couple of blows in 6 seconds. But maybe only one of them will matter. If you think about it in this way, everyone at level 1 will have the same number of times that they can roll the dice to see if those attacks land. And then when you get a second attack, you simply get to roll the dice an additional time to try to do damage. If you compare that to something like a spell effect such as Firebolt, where you get to roll the dice once to do damage, but it does more damage, this is to demonstrate that it's a go big or go home effect versus I have more chances to do little hits. It's a balancing factor, and most of it is a balancing factor at that point. But I think we need to get this idea of the silliness of the combat aside, because it's an abstraction. And if you look at other systems, especially some that are trying to be more realistic, one of the ones that come to mind all the time is GURPS. If you don't know what it is, it's Generic Universal Role-Playing System, and they have 1 second turns. You get to take a single action, be that moving at your movement speed, which is something like 5 feet, or maybe like 2 yards. Take a single attack, you get to aim, you get to do something like that. Reload partially, and you don't get to do a lot. Even something like Scion has like a shorter action, and they try to abstract it in a more logical sense where, all right, everyone's not going to get these big 6-second turns. Well, what we know, and again, is that you only get to take part of your turn to attack. Your action is, in fact, 3 seconds, so to speak. They did away with full round attacks. So you're only spend about half to maybe 2/3 of your entire action or turn devoted to purely attacking, because you also get to move and bonus action and all that stuff in 5e. So compare that to Pathfinder 2nd, which gives you 3 actions. You can attack 3 times if you want at level 1, and those are actually meant to be physical number of times you attack. Because the way they handle dual wielding differently than 5e does. 5e is meant to signify a second attack, attacking, taking up your bonus action time as well, with a second weapon, basically giving you extra chances to land hits. But anyway, that is what I wanted to talk about. And I kind of wanted to just see and watch somebody who has absolutely no combat experience and try to dissect a part of the game that is a rules abstraction meant to honestly do the best it can. And I couldn't resist making this my first video. XP to level 3 has, I'm going to start this video off by poking a bear here and saying some of the most outlandish takes on D&D I've ever seen. And I respect what you do. Making videos, it's hard. But this random person you brought on had to explain why you get disadvantage on melee for range attacks. Anyone who's ever tried to do a range attack in melee before would understand that. So I don't know if this was a pure comedy video, and that was just in there for comedy sake or not, but come on, man. Think about it. All right. Anyway, I've been Zarku, and that's me reacting to, honestly, a video that I think everyone's done, and you probably just made a fool of yourself a little on the internet, man. Thank you. Bye.